Good morning, everyone. We will now begin the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters, asking God and Meishu-sama to protect and bless us as we participate today in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Taka-ama-hara ni kamuzumarimasu kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite Tsumemiyoya kamu izanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himuka no tachihana no odo no ahagi hara ni misogi hara itamo toki ni narimaseru haraido no okami tachi moro moro no magaguto tsumi kegare o Harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni Ame no fujikoma no mimi furi tatete Kikoshimese to kashikomi mo maosu Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Kam nagara tamachi haimase. Kam nagara tamachi haimase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. God, Meishu-sama, bless you. Teaching today is entitled Paradise on Earth. It's from Daily Inspirations, page 29. I'm doing my utmost to help fulfill God's marvelous plan of establishing paradise on earth. A civilization in which disease, poverty, and conflict no longer exist will be a paradise on earth. Paradise on earth is a world where truth, virtue, and beauty manifest in perfect form. The aim of our spiritual movement is to establish a paradise on earth by helping to create and promote a spiritual civilization that will develop alongside our present material civilization. Paradise on earth is the phrase I have used to describe a world free from disease, poverty, and conflict. A world that has long been the ideal of humanity. Over the ages, spiritual leaders from various cultures have prophesied the advent of such a world without specifying a time frame for the realization of such ideals. However, I have become aware of the fact that the moment is close at hand. It would be extremely fortunate for humanity if paradise on earth could be established without any major changes. The truth is, however, that in order for an ideal world to be realized, the cleansing of the present world must first be accomplished, just as an old house must be razed and the site cleared before a new house can be built. There will be a number of parts from the old structure that will still be usable and thus be spared, but their selection, of course, is up to God. To survive, all human beings must become useful members of the new civilization. By doing so, we can surmount this great change and pass God's test. This can only be achieved through faith in God. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning service of the Miroku Association. Meishu-sama stated that in order for paradise to be established, first step is that paradise must reside in my own heart. If I'm in a state of paradise, if I'm perceiving paradise around me, then this will reflect in my home. From my home will reflect in my neighborhood, and then in my town, my city, in my state, in my country, and then the world. So I can make this contribution. Think globally, act locally. So that's my realization of paradise, envisioning and appreciating the things that are already manifesting in our lives. I once saw was in a blog, the person say how to live richly. And this was a person who liked strawberries, like a kind of dessert made with strawberries. But the amount that this person was being served was quite small, but it's still because that person liked the strawberries so much. So she was having this great time. And even though that would be something that she could only have it maybe at maximum once a year, still there was a moment to treasure. I gave an example before here in these morning services of my perception about where I live here in New York City. I've been living here for more than 20 years, and I love so many aspects of the city, still realizing there are many problems as well, but I focus on what the city has of positive to offer. And this is not just here. All these places that I've been living, I'm acquiring this kind of perception. First, I was in Newark, New Jersey, then I was San Francisco, California, and here, each place will have its uniqueness, its beauty, its positive points. So, and I felt always amazed because the placing itself is the same, but the people's perception are different. Are those who here who they actually live in the city of New York, or they just visit and their perception is very negative, very dark. And I feel sorry because I, I felt that they haven't either had the chance to appreciate what the good aspects of it, or have not lived long enough. So I think this it is true for all the places where we live. We can appreciate the things that God is already blessing us with. And also another example is like once you visit a new place, you start appreciating the things you had left. That was also my experience when I went to Japan for training, spent there 9 months. I think that while I was in Japan, I started appreciating so many things that Brazil, the country that I came from, had to offer. So when we start missing something, then that's the beauty or the positive points. The same happens with the individuals. Sometimes we have relatives and we have friends. They are near us, or we don't are not in frequent contact with them, or whatever it is. When they make their transition to the spiritual realm, and then we may miss all of that person. He had these positive points. She had these wonderful aspects of her. So we can practice this perception of paradise on a daily basis. And by nurturing our hearts with this paradise-like atmosphere, this will also be our contribution towards the manifestation of paradise. But of course, in the Johrei movement, we have the Johrei channeling. That's our simplest and most effective way, and we put so much emphasis. Okay, I will make my realization of paradise today by channeling and receiving Johrei on a regular basis. We have appreciating of art and beauty, we have flower arranging, and we have the consumption of natural foods and planting organically, nature farming method. These are ways to help creating paradise on earth, guiding our friends and families and praying for the happiness of others, praying for the elevation of our ancestors. The faith experience I would like to share today tells about this, about the creation of paradise in one's home. And this is from Ana Acacia Souza. She's from Recife, Brazil, and was shared today in Brazil. Ana has been a Johrei member for 27 years and dedicated as a missionary. With the start of the COVID pandemic in March of last year, Ana and her family were forced to stay at home most of the time. Initially, she missed the face-to-face activities at the Johrei Center. However, Ana understood that it would be a good opportunity to provide better assistance to her own family. Ana lives in a two-story building. She and her husband, who is also a Johrei member, live upstairs, and her 83-year-old mother and sister live downstairs. Ana had a rather difficult relationship with her sister. Ana found her moody and impatient, and she often treated Ana harshly and in a rude manner. Anna's sister channeled Johrei to her mother, but Anna's sister never accepted to receive it, and while always shied away when it was offered. Anna tried to approach her. Anna began to practice serving with the small various virtuous deeds. Would offer her sister something different to eat, try to find out how she was doing, and offer to help with some housework. In mid-April of last year, Anna's sister began to show symptoms such as fever, chest pain, tiredness, and shortness of breath. She took the test, which was positive for coronavirus. Once she was released to do treatments at home, Anna thought it would be a good opportunity to offer her Johrei again, and this time she accepted. Anna began to channel Johrei to her for at least an hour every day. Her sister had nausea, diarrhea, and high fever. Anna tried to explain that these reactions were positive, as they meant that her spirit was being purified and her body was getting rid of toxins. In approximately 2 weeks, the results were excellent, and she was no longer showing symptoms of COVID-19. However, it wasn't just her health that improved. Anna started to notice her calmer, patient, and her way of dealing with Anna changed a lot. In the beginning, Anna channeled Johrei thinking about curing the disease and that her sister needed to get better soon. Afterwards, Anna began to feel grateful for the purification because through it, Anna was having the opportunity to bring the divine light to her sister. Anna's sister in herself was changing, and they were getting closer. Anna's feelings towards her sister also changed. She was able to see her with more love and gratitude, especially for taking care of their mother, practically by herself. The light of God purified their feelings and the spiritual atmosphere of their family. Currently, they live in harmony and feeling as close friends, and her sister continues to receive Johrei frequently. From this experience, Anna learned that paradise on earth begins at home, and that as Johrei members, we have a great mission for the salvation of humanity through the expansion of divine light and the creation of paradise-like homes. So that was very nice experience, very in line with the teaching today. I want to thank you again. Wish you a very blessed day, and with this concludes our morning service. Thank you very much.